One of the things I wonder about in terms of what's environmental at this moment, because when I did the speaker series at Stanford and we did workshops and we did sustainability tours where people would come to Silicon Valley and we would take them to see all the different companies working on something around sustainability. And that was kind of the end of the 90s, early 2000s that we did a lot of that work. And sustainability was still new. And I look back at some things I wrote then about this ladder of sustainability of how do you go from your product to your process to getting everybody involved, to getting the whole company, to getting your supply chain, your partners, and then finally your whole industry and get your industry to advocate for sustainability. But now when I look at it, it seems really old when I look at that because our climate issues are so crazy and urgent at the moment. I mean, California is burning. We're supposed to do online workshops and they keep cutting our electricity in California because of the fires. And on a windy day, because the electrical is transmitted through really dry areas when it gets to the mountains, before it gets to Silicon Valley, they just turn off the electricity. So Silicon Valley, tech capital, has no electricity. We can't work from there. We're thinking, should we stay in Hawaii? We have electricity here. So it just feels like climate is urgent now at so many places around the world. It fits the data, it fits the predictions. We're starting to see it. It's going to be more urgent next year, more the year after that. So it feels like climate, as opposed to environment or sustainability or things we've been interested in for decades, it feels like climate is the thing, and carbon is kind of a stand-in for all the greenhouse gas, but carbon solutions. So it's both, how do we run the whole world without putting up any fossil fuel? How do we do that? How do we electrify everything? How do we get the electricity to be clean? How do we, have our transportation, our buildings? Calling it, what to name it makes a difference. If it's to make sure that people know this is about either carbon solutions or the issue.
I think carbon has negative ramifications, negative connotations as well. I think
so
climate is the word. Climate's the bomb.
And climate innovation.
Call it the climate forum. You've got climate, you've got innovation.
Regenerative era, regenerative economy.
Regenerative, virtual. So, sorry, David.
I think that what Ivan proposes is how to differentiate us from many other groups that are around, because there are many other groups. So the question is, how does this I4JE, whatever name you want to call it, differentiate itself from the other groups that are around? And Ivan suggests a whole model that is different, I think, than other ways that all kind of activist group are functioning.
And it could be that there's youth leaders that are leaders in business. Maybe there's some innovation leaders, as nonprofit groups working on climate that might have young leadership in them too.
For me, climate is a too neutral world.
So what do you think, David?
What would you call it? Climate disaster.
I'm more in a
emergency
mindset. I'm more about global heating, not global warming. That's my mindset.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So climate for me is too vanilla.
If you called it climate emergency leadership group?
Something like that, yeah. Something that emphasizes that we are at a tipping point, something that says that we are, we don't have another 50 years to think about it.
Let's noodle on that. I like that. I mean,
climate now. I like climate emergency. I like climate now.
You guys are both in Australia, right?
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know Paul Gilding at all? Paul Gilding, have you heard that name? Okay, I'll check in with you about it. It'd be great if you guys could do a little research on where he's at these days. He was the CEO of Greenpeace at some point. And I'll have you look into him as well. He's not that young anymore, of course. Yeah. Time flies.
I think as well we can get Woodford involved, which is the Burning Man of Australia.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, we'll
Our
make
morning
them-
is your afternoon, so we can have it any time, and we'll have it your 4 to 6 and our 8 to 10 or whatever. And we can, and why not actually invite the Mexican contingent to come in as well?
That would be great.
That'd be wild.
I
At least
would-
some
I
of
would
them.
like that.
Yeah, crazy.
The other thing we'll send you, just so you know what it is, I'd love to send you the Logi information,
Right.
the land art
Well, we're
generator.
gonna
And the
load you up
reason
with
why I love it, and we usually end our presentations with it, is it's massive, beautiful art. So it's solar panels or wind, but it's something that could be a city tourist attraction.